right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Heads up, that break from the 90s and the humidity is ending. I'll let you know when the excessive heat returns.
It's a lifeline for those who've lost hope. Tonight claims that number will soon go unanswered. We verify. First tonight, 2 men now charged in a deadly house explosion. 4 lives lost in what investigators call an illegal homegrown fireworks operation.
We don't refer to these as fireworks. They meet the definition of an improvised explosive device.
Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. Tonight, 37-year-old Terrell Cooks and 43-year-old Seneca Mahan both face several charges, including 3 counts of second-degree murder in a deadly house explosion. 5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki spoke with federal investigators earlier tonight. He joins us now with some insight on the investigation. Holden.
Well, Mike, investigators aren't even calling these fireworks. They're actually calling them IEDs. And neither Cooks or Mahan actually had a license to work with explosives. Now they each face multiple charges, including 3 counts of second-degree murder.
Friday morning, just before 1:30, this North County neighborhood was shaken to its core.
There was a huge explosion, house shaking. We assumed that a tree had fallen.
We just heard this humongous boom.
Nicole Thomas and Danielle Dawson were shocked to discover damage to their homes.
It didn't just take out the glass, it removed the entire frame from the home.
I guess just the blast itself and the heat from the fire I could feel on my door. I can feel that on my back door.
There's kids in the house. We're calling 911.
4 people between the ages of 16 and 21 were killed in the blast.
We could literally hear the screaming of people in that house.
Investigators now believe the cause of that blast was an illegal fireworks operation inside of this family garage.
There's a big difference between a little black cat firecracker and the items that were allegedly being manufactured in this home. And those would rise to the level of an improvised explosive device.
ATF spokesman John Hamm says his office has seen an increase in injuries from people trying to build fireworks in the backyard without any knowledge of how to properly handle explosives.
So the powders that are inside and the chemical compositions that are inside are so unstable that static electricity can set them off.
Though it's still unclear what ultimately caused the powder to ignite.
And it takes just a very, very small amount of these powders to have absolutely deadly consequences.
It doesn't matter to many along Parker Street who have experienced unimaginable loss.
That sound is just the screaming is gonna be in my mind for a while. I don't know when I'll ever be able to get that out of my head.
Both Cooks and Mahan are both currently being held on $350,000 cash bonds for state charges. At this time, it's unclear if they could face federal charges as well as the ATF continues its investigation. Mike?
Holden, thanks. Tonight, a High Ridge firefighter is recovering after suffering serious injuries while battling a house fire. The fire broke out today in the 4200 block of Hickory Lane. That's off Gravois in House Springs. Investigators say the firefighter fell through the floor into the basement. His injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. The cause of that fire is under investigation. A live look now at downtown St. Louis tonight. We've been enjoying a brief break from the excessive heat and humidity, but it is coming back. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is in for Scott tonight, and he's here to tell us how uncomfortable it'll get this week, Jim.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, by the way. It was a nice day, wasn't it?
Thank you. Yes, it was beautiful.
About 88. So, and that humidity level was very low. In fact, in the 30% range at times, maybe even a little bit below that. But Mike, this is what's coming. So high pressure builds back in and those 90s come back tomorrow, probably low and mid 90s, but the humidity is in check like it was all weekend. It's just a little hotter. Then it's hot and humid Tuesday. That heat index may be as high as 105. And of course, just remember, limit that outdoor activity, stay out of the sun if you can, and of course, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water. And by the way, as soon as that heat and humidity comes back, summer arrives. The summer solstice Tuesday at 4:13 a.m. So there's more heat, limited rain chances this week. Where are we right now? Well, we're at 81 degrees, so still pretty warm, but look at the humidity, about 34%. Dew point was in the 40s throughout the day, so it's 50 now. That's not bad, because last last week we had dew points in the 70s, Mike. So much more on how hot it's going to be this week coming up in just a bit.
All right, Jim, we'll see you then. Today marks Juneteenth. It was on this day in 1865, enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, learned they were free. That was 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Tonight, the McDonald Planetarium is lit in red, black, and green in recognition of the now federal holiday. It'll be lit up in these colors again tomorrow night. Juneteenth and Father's Day, and many say it's a good day for both. Tonight, 5 on Your Side's Travis Cummings shows us how Fairground Park in North St. Louis turned into a dome for fathers and freedom.
It's the best of both worlds.
All smiles for dads this Sunday.
Spending time with family and supporting the community on Juneteenth.
Nate Johnson out with his 2 girls at the first ever Free Dome celebration, spending Father's Day at Fairground Park in North St. Louis, checking out African-American vendors and honing in on their heritage.
It's just so important that we support local. You know, we support the community and make sure that we're reinvesting dollars in the community that's here for us.
Polino Smith doing the same, grateful to be present and share in that influence.
You know, we just want to be there. You know, even if your father wasn't there, you want to be there for your kids to get them everything you didn't have. So we here in this event in the park, you know, June 10th and Father's Day, so why not?
There's a couple of things that bring people to the historic Fairground Park today. One, for fathers to spend time with their families, and then to recognize the contributions that Black people have and still are making in our society today.
It's very imperative for us in the sustainability of a people for us to take our talents and gift them in public despite all adversity.
Local artist Dale Chambers being recognized for her decade of dedication to the arts in St. Louis. Her work ranging from genealogy to public art projects.
In the midst of us thinking about vacancy and about how we can get rid of and remediate vacancy, I'm looking at all the life that's already here.
And if it's anyone recognizing the importance of today, it's the young people.
Support us and showing them this is our day, you know what I'm saying, get out and have fun and just celebrating us today.
Travis Cummings, 5 on Your Side.
The St. Louis African American Artifacts Festival and Bazaar hosted today's Freedom Celebration, Free Dome Celebration, and it will hold its 8th annual cultural event on August 20th. The city of Delwood celebrated Juneteenth with a parade and resource fair. The county health department also provided vaccinations. There were vendors, games, live music, and food. Both Missouri and Illinois recognize Juneteenth as a state holiday. President Biden signed a bill last year officially recognizing Juneteenth as a federal holiday. And since it falls on Sunday this year, it will be observed tomorrow, and that means all non-essential government offices will be closed. The post office, the New York Stock Exchange, and most banks will be closed. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court dismissal of Flood versus Kuhn. The legal battle started when St. Louis Cardinals center fielder Curt Flood rejected a trade to the Philadelphia Phillies. He challenged Major League Baseball's reserve clause, and then that eventually led to free agency for all players. Today, the Major League Baseball Players Association released a statement saying the dedication and courage Mr. Flood exhibited on and off the field left an indelible mark on its fraternity that will never be forgotten. A crisis hotline has answered the call for millions. We verify if those seeking help will soon dial the wrong number. Family medicine.
We got into this little game called Operation. She was about 4.
On this Father's Day, the young doctor who performed surgery with her dad.
We're about to heat up again. 90s are back this week. Humidity levels on the rise. I'll have the numbers coming up.
Tonight, relief at the pump, though it's not much. The national average has dropped below $5 a gallon. It's now $4.98. St. Louis gas prices remain steady around $4.86. It costs around $5.14 in the Metro East. Since 2004, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline has answered more than 20 million calls for support. Our Verified team looks into claims the hotline that people know will soon need to learn a new number to connect when they're in crisis. Here's Brandon Lewis.
For nearly 18 years, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline has answered calls at 800-273-8255. Its number was even the title of a hit song by rapper Logic, which significantly raised awareness of the number. So when Verify viewer Mel saw this Instagram post claiming the Lifeline was changing its number to 988, she tagged us to ask if it was true. So Mel, let's verify. Is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline switching to 988? Our sources are the Federal Communication Commission, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. In 2019, the government released a report recommending the creation of a 3-digit code for the Suicide Lifeline, arguing it would be easier to remember in a crisis. A year later, Congress approved using 988 as the calling code for mental health emergencies. While the old hotline number will remain active, carriers have until July 16th to activate 988. Some large wireless providers like T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T are already allowing users to call 988. So, yes, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is switching to 988 next month. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What can we verify for you? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com. On this Father's Day, we're reminded that a good example is even more valuable than good advice. And as you'll learn in tonight's Making a Difference report, that's why one local doctor is giving new meaning to the term family medicine.
You heparinase, please. You bet.
Even more than scalpels and forceps, the most important tools for a surgeon are the hands.
Today we're going to do an aortic valve replacement.
And on this day, 4 hands are better than 2.
All right, honey, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Dr. Sophia Roberts is a second-year Washington University resident.
Okay, now here's the way you do this.
Training to become a cardiothoracic surgeon.
ACT was 613.
Less than 5% of heart surgeons are women, but making this even more unique is that the doctor she's assisting today
All right, give me another one. Coming up.
is her dad.
And this is a pretty complicated case, but she, if I say so myself, she did a really good job.
Following in her father's footsteps began at an early age. Her path cemented after dinners out with the family.
Inevitably, some family would come up to our table and say, "Oh, Dr. Roberts, you don't remember me, but you operated on my mother and gave her 10 extra years with us. Or you operated on me and now I'm here with my family." And that had a big impact on me as a kid.
From then on, she was a girl who preferred scrubs to skirts.
We got in her this little game called Operation. She was about 4. My sister Beth said, she was really good at that. Actually,
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
I've got her one. Let's just see.
That's awful.
Oh, she did it.
Whoa.
Whoa.
All right, there we go.
Here's one thing you can see here.
Though she was raised in South Florida, training at Washington University was always the dream.
That's pretty normal.
Her mom is from Belleville, so she'd visit the area often.
My grandmother had surgery here. My grandfather's been hospitalized here. It's a place that I would want my family members to go to. So to me, growing up, this was always kind of like the pinnacle of medicine.
After graduating from Yale and Ohio State University College of Medicine, she arrived in June of 2020. A year later, her dad would follow in her footsteps.
Her left ventricle was terrible.
After 30 years as a cardiac surgeon in Florida and West Virginia, he texted with the news that he received an offer to work for Washington University's renowned Heart and Vascular Program.
My immediate response was yes, you have to do this.
Trust me, if she's like, oh, please, don't do that, I wouldn't have come.
Take Your Daughter to Work Day wasn't just one day a year when Sophia was younger. She'd go with Dad to the hospital all the time.
Here's the way you do this.
They're still going to the hospital, only now it's to perform surgery together.
The thing I'm really looking forward to is this will be the first of many. One thing you do, you can feel it here.
Following Dad's example and his advice.
It's mostly just you have to love what you do, and what you do needs to sustain you for an entire career.
Hey, you did a great job.
Dr. Roberts and Dr. Roberts. Their family business is healing.
I got to tell you, she came in like a champ.
And I mentioned the importance of great hands when you're a surgeon. Well, Dr. Harold Roberts is also a concert pianist. And a reminder, if you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference, let me know by email at mbush@kstk.com. We're getting a new look at the damage caused by historic flooding at Yellowstone National Park. As you can see, the floodwaters have gone down. The Yellowstone River at one point swelled to its highest level in more than 100 years, prompting all entrances to the park to be closed. However, the park's South Loop will reopen to the public on Wednesday. Well, it's been a fantastic few days weather-wise, but it's all going to change this week. Jim says the heat is returning.
It is, and we'll get some breaks in there in the 10-day forecast, but really the break is down to about 90 or 91, Mike. So it's going to get really hot. We'll talk more about that coming up. But flying weather, it is beautiful out there. Here's Lambert, still at 81 degrees. Really one of the warmer spots, if not kind of hot. We had this area of low pressure, really just stationary front right there, slicing through Missouri and going all the way down to the Gulf Coast and all the way up into Canada. This side of it is definitely more humid, and we'll be on that as we head into most of this week coming up, especially by Tuesday. 88 for the high today, 63 for the overnight low, 87 is the average high, and keep in mind that humidity level was really nice today, and it was on Saturday too. 81 right now at Lambert, and that 34% relative humidity, south-southeast wind at about 7. But you get outside of the city, we're in the 60s around Chesterfield and Warrenton, and then 73 at St. Charles, Sullivan 74. So really the hot spot is St. Louis. Well, what's this? This is some smoke in the upper levels of the atmosphere, just some light smoke, and it's from the wildfires from Arizona and also New Mexico. So maybe the sky isn't as blue. It adds a little whiteness to the sky. And then look at this. We call a huge area of high pressure developing right on top of us. It's a cloud eater. So we have no clouds around us at all. It's very clear. On the periphery of this, you can see showers and storms in the Rockies all the way up into Canada, and the jet stream goes down into the east coast of the United States. So that's where the active weather will stay. So for us, it's pretty dry. Overnight lows tonight, very nice in the 50s to around 65 in St. Louis. Again, the warm spot. And then highs tomorrow, getting up there again, 95 in St. Louis, 93 in Herman, but the humidity is in check tomorrow. It's not too high, 92 for Potosi and Shiloh at about 92. But we are steamy by Tuesday. So tomorrow's decent, just on the hot side, but by Tuesday, definitely a little on the sticky side, but we're dry until about probably Wednesday, a slight chance of a shower or storm. So here we go. By Tuesday, summer arrives, 99, and it's more humid, 96 on Wednesday. Again, limited rain chances. Thursday's dry at 94, 95 on Friday, 98 Saturday, and then maybe a little bit cooler next weekend.
Here we go again. All right, Jim, thanks. Celebrating the classics, the cherished Father's Day memories made with a little elbow grease. Whether your Father's Day tradition is grilling out or just spending time together, the memories you make and time you spend are really what stay with you. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski shows us how generations of families bonded over restoring classic cars as they showed off this Father's Day.
This Father's Day, dozens of families headed out to the National Museum of Transportation for the Cars with Class show. It featured lots of classic cars and even pieces of St. Louis history, like this delivery truck from Doris Motors.
And there's a gear-driven water pump.
Andy Doris says his grandfather's business only made 600 to 800 of them. He spent a lot of time restoring this one.
If you need a part for this one, you have to manufacture them.
The president of the Horseless Carriage Club says even though classic car restoration has a pretty high price tag, the memories are priceless.
You can't put value on that $1 million smile your child will give you.
For this group, the time they cherish is spent under the hood of an engine, or in the Thurman family's case, 7 different engines of cars they rebuilt together.
He bought a 30 Model A some 46 years ago, I'm thinking, and we just loved it.
That red truck has quite a story Walter Thurman loves to tell.
I owned an appliance store at the time. A guy came in to buy a stereo, didn't have the money for the one he wanted, and he said, "But I tell you, I got an old truck." So we ended up swapping. I took the truck, he took the stereo.
The third-generation car enthusiast Austin Thurman says it only took a little elbow grease and a lot of love to restore this truck.
Standing inside where the engine is, helping Grandpa stand the firewall when I was about 12 years old.
And on this Father's Day, Austin cherishes this day and all the ones before it with his dad and granddad.
From the day I turned 16, pulling in the lot, and the woman said, "You're gonna go. Honey, are you old enough to drive this car?" Yes, ma'am, I'm 16, I'm here with my family. So that's it for me, is just seeing everyone's faces when the Thurmans come together with all their cars.
Reporting in St. Louis County, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
A Metro East family celebrated both their father and mother today. This special milestone for this couple and how a mishap with the mail almost prevented it. The annual Folds of Honor campaign, sponsored by Schnucks, is now underway. From now until July 4th, you can round up at the register. Money raised goes towards scholarships for spouses and children of fallen and wounded service members. 5 on Your Side is a proud partner of the campaign. A special celebration this weekend in the Metro East. Roland and Lorna Harris are celebrating 75 years of marriage. They met in high school at a 4th of July dance where they did the jitterbug. Roland then went off to serve during World War II, where he asked Lorna to write him every day. She did, but there was a mishap with the military mail.
I went 14 days without a letter, and she'd always had sent one every day. And so
but he didn't know that. He didn't know that I had, and the next letter I got from him, he bowled me out because I never wrote to him.
Well, the couple went on to get married, have 4 sons, and run a funeral home in Highland, Illinois. They have 14 grandchildren and 19 great-grandchildren. Roland and Lorna say they love each other more now than the day they got married. Happy anniversary. And there you have it. 5 on Your Side at 10. Now here's Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.